Great. Well, thanks everybody for it's a nice day here. I don't know what it's like down your way. I'm up at the cottage, so and actually I'm actually in London with AMO right now, so that's the way but it's a virtual, so we're having some good stuff there. So I just want to let everybody know before I call to order that if I have to leave at 3:30, I have a multi-minister delegation at just after 3:30, so I'll have to leave if we're not quite done this portion. The deputy mayor said he'd jump in there for the extra pay and do that job for me. So there you go. So any disclosure, any peculiar interest on the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act? Seeing none, then I will move by Councillor Dirksen, second by Councillor McKenzie, that the minutes of the Town of Minto, July 13th, 2021 regular council meeting be approved. Anybody opposed? Where's Jean? Okay. Carried. Okay. I got my screen here. Going to move on over. Moved by Councillor Anderson, second by Councillor Gudson. The Town of Minto Council convenes the committee of the whole. No objection? Good. Carried. Delegations, we have none. Correspondence, we have none. Committee minutes, none. So we're right into the planning staff reports, and let's turn it over to Ashley, and she's got 3 reports for us, and she'll start us off. Thank you, Ashley.
So good afternoon, Mayor Bridge and members of council. So the first one before you is regarding a severance application of Dan Sinclair's property at 485 Main Street East in Palmerston. So essentially, the severance application is to sever off the existing house, and the remainder of land will be the retained portion. The existing house sits on roughly 0.38 of an acre. And by doing this severance, he will require minor variance relief for the frontage on the retained parcel of the retained portion of the parcel, sorry. So we have gone through, and I do just want everyone to keep in mind that this isn't necessarily for the land use. That's already been decided upon back in 2011 through the official plan amendment and the zoning bylaw amendment. This is strictly just to sever off the house. So town staff do not have any concerns with the proposed severance that can't be addressed with our standard conditions. Zoning compliance will have to be achieved with the minor variance, which we will be hearing at a public meeting at 5. And then there's standard conditions for the access, the servicing, and frontage fees already included. We also did throw in a condition that a site plan agreement will have to be entered into once the commercial parcel is developed. And that is something that Dan is aware of as well. He hasn't indicated that he's in any rush to develop the commercial portion, but he does want to get the house severed and sold off while the market's still hot. So the recommendation from the town is that council recommends the land division committee approve the application with the conditions outlined in the report provided.
Okay. Any questions for Ashley on this one? Ron, got your hand up. Aha, good work. Now you have to take your mute off now, though. It's a two-story, that's a 2 combination thing, hand and the mute. Okay, there you go.
To do 2 things. Yeah, just the commercial part is, if we any clue what, I know some of the neighbors have got hold of me, the ones that are the newest neighbors have talked to me about, they're wondering what kind of commercials going in and whether they'll be buffered or how they'll be. I mean, their back lawn's going to be sitting in a commercial area, so I can understand their concerns. If Ashley, any idea what kind of commercial would be going in there?
So we haven't seen any development plans from Dan yet. He's still pretty tied up with his Henry Vic development. So whether he'll be holding on to the commercial parcel and developing it himself or selling it off, we're not 100% sure. Some preliminary thoughts were that it'll be main floor commercial with potential residential above for either apartments or condos, which is something that we would support, as we really do need that in the town as well. Mm-hmm. And then I know, just speaking to Belinda, she's had a lot of people reach out to her for like pharmacies and hairdressers and that kind of stuff. So we're thinking more of like a plaza style strip, but that's not something that we've seen development plans for yet. It's just very preliminary so far. And then in terms of buffering, they would be required to meet all the provisions of the zoning bylaw as well. That's something that would be looked at more thoroughly when the site plan stage comes, and that site plan agreement would have to be signed before we would ever issue a building permit. So one thing that does help the Bridge Crescent residents is that there's actually a stormwater easement along that property line. So that actually increases the buffer more than we require in the zoning bylaw anyways. But yes, that'll all be considered when we get to that point.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, thanks, Ron. And that did come up before too. And I think we can certainly know that there's some concerns, and if it does get developed by somebody, we'll let the developers know what those concerns are, and they have to come up with a plan, right?
Yeah.
That makes sense, right?
Yep, and that's the thing too, at the site plan stage, it's reviewed by us, our engineer, and the county as well, and, we have a little bit of pull on what we can approve as well, so.
Okay, Councillor McKenzie, do you have your hand up? And then Deputy Mayor.
Thank you. Ashley, is that the end of the municipal boundary at is that lot, or does it go up further onto the farm?
No, that's the very edge of the urban boundary.
Okay, thanks.
Deputy Mayor Turton.
The stormwater easement, Ashley, is it on Dan's property or on closer to Bridge Street? Where is it?
So it is on Dan's property, and it runs just right up adjacent to the back lot lines of the Bridge Crescent homes. And then I did pull the actual easement agreement from back in the day. So he does have the right to pave over that, but buildings and structures wouldn't be something we would support in case we do need to maintain the stormwater easement.
And the severed property will stay commercial.
Yes, yep. So, I mean, his intent with flipping it and selling it is to keep it residential, which will put it to a legal non-conforming use, but there is the potential that down the road, someone could come in and want to put a commercial business in there, but we'd have to look at the logistics of that then as well.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Anything else? Okay, I have a recommendation here. I move by Councillor Elliott, second by Deputy Mayor Turton. Do you want me to read this whole thing, or are you guys all right with all that? It's like 5 pages long here.
We're trying to standardize the conditions, but it does make it a lot wordier, I would say.
Are you good with the those conditions? All right, I'm not going to read. Okay. Anybody opposed? Carried. Okay. Next up, Ashley.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
So this severance application that was sent to us by the county for our comment is for 577 Derby Street, also in Palmerston. So this is also for Dan Sinclair. He is severing off the lot from the existing house on 577 Derby, and it is currently zoned R2. That being said, if you look at the lot area and frontage and the requirements, that pretty much limits him to just a single family dwelling. So that being said, we didn't include zoning compliance if he were to build a semi in the conditions, because if he has to go that route, he needs relief anyways. And at that point, it would be circulated. The lot's also very, very tight for a semi, and we don't think it would be feasible to build. So most likely you'll just be seeing a single family home there. The property does already have 2 existing curb cuts. So the one goes up to the old garage. There's grass where the driveway used to be. And the existing gravel driveway they use, it's what's going to be on the lot that's getting severed off. So we did also keep our condition in that satisfactory access arrangements will be made, because once we know the layout of the house that will be on the second lot, that might need to change slightly. So we just wanted to make sure we reserve that right still. And then other than that, services are already available in the right of way. It'll be on the developer's cost to pull them into the property. That's something that typically they pay for at the building permit stage, but Public Works, that's their domain more. The town is recommending just standard conditions for servicing, access, frontage fees, and parkland dedication, because they are making a new lot in a residential area. And our recommendation is that council recommends the Land Division Committee approve the application with the conditions outlined in the report provided.
Okay. Questions? Deputy Mayor Turton.
Ashley, is there anything stopping Dan from building a duplex there, like a 2-story?
It doesn't have the lot area and frontage to do it right now, so he would have to have zoning relief to do that. So if that were the case, it would go through the public process with a zoning amendment, and everyone would be notified. So
Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay, I have a recommendation moved by Councillor McKenzie, second by Councillor Anderson, and the terms are there if you'd like to. Anybody opposed to it? Okay, carried. Go ahead, Ashley, next.
okay, so this one's a part lot control. So this one's for Alan Williamson at 21 William Street South in Clifford. So council may recall we did rezone it from R1B to R2 at the April 6th council meeting. So this is now to just legally split the parcels into their own separate lots with distinct and separate ownership once he chooses to sell them. We did put a 36-month month timeline on this as well. This is something the county's been recommending just to standardize the process. And then with COVID, there is uncertainty. The 36-month timeline just means that the lawyer has to have it registered as separate lots within that time frame. It doesn't mean that it actually has to be built, but that being said, the applicant is looking at building this spring. The proposed lot configuration does meet all of the zoning requirements with frontage and area, and at the zoning stage, she wasn't asking for any specialized relief. So our recommendation is that council receives the report for the part lot control and considers passing a bylaw authorizing the use of it.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? I think it's a good property in the sense that we're going to get a few more houses there, which we need, and hopefully they'll be at a real attainable cost. Yeah. Okay. Moved by Councillor Gudson, second by Councillor Elliott. And I'll read this one. The Council of the Town of Minto receives the planning technician's report regarding part lot control exemption application from 2554283 Ontario Inc., Alan Williamson, for the property legally described as lots 87, 88, 89 in the plan of the Village of Clifford and the former Village of Clifford with the municipal address of 21 William Street South in the town of Minto, and is considered passing the bylaw in session. Anybody opposed? Carried. Good. And I forgot to ask about other business. Sorry, guys and gals. So I will ask you now if anybody's got other business. Deputy Mayor Turk.
Yeah, I just wanted to thank everyone for their condolences and their thoughts and prayers that with the McPhail family there a couple of weeks ago with the passing of my favorite father-in-law, Don McPhail, and we're going to miss him.
Mhm.
And I appreciate everything that was pushed forward by everybody, town and employees, staff, and council. So thank you.
Thanks, Deputy Mayor Turton. And Donnie will be missed. I had some really good conversations with him over the years. Being a past mayor, he always had some good advice for me from time to time. I'm sure he gave you advice all the time too.
Always.
No comment. Okay, good. Anybody else? I've been, is anybody else doing emo? Gene? Okay.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, I've made quite a bit of it. There's sometimes I couldn't be on stuff because I had delegations, but there was some interesting stuff that's happening. And
Yes, there has been.
yeah, and maybe Gene, if you want, at our next one, maybe on our next council meeting, if you want to make a little report on what you got out of it, and I'll try to do the same on my end.
Yeah, I'll have to go back. I don't know how you get back into the previous sessions. Like they're open for 30 days, but I haven't figured out how to do that because there's a couple of lists that I couldn't get to.
Yeah, and then that's the nice thing about this, the way it's done. You can actually go back when ones you missed, right? Back and look at them. Yeah, okay. Well, if you can't figure it out, I'll let me know, and I'll see if I can get stuff to you. Okay, Derek, you have your hand up.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to make mention that our thoughts and prayers are with our clerk, Annalee McRobb, for the passing of her father-in-law. So I just want to make mention of that our thoughts are with the family at this, what we believe is a very difficult time. So
Yes, and thanks for that, Derek. And I know the town sent some flowers, and yeah, I know Annalene, it was a tough row for her because, you know, he suffered for a bit at the end, but anyways. Anybody else? Okay. Well, let's see, where are we? Let me get my. Okay. Moved by Deputy Mayor Turton, second by Councillor Dirksen. The Town of Minto Committee of the Whole convenes the Committee of Adjustment. And then I guess that's when we have to wait till 5 o'clock to do those, right? So we'll be doing it at 5 o'clock. So I'll be back on at 5 o'clock, and everybody can take a break right now. And thanks for coming back at 5. We'll see you then. All right, let me just turn that thing there. Just gotta get the page on that. Okay, so I think Quinn, we did open we went into this, we did the motion already to go in.
You did, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So welcome back, everybody, and we're going to start with our 3 public meetings today that we have. So with no further ado, we'll get started. I will act as the chair of the public meeting. I'll call the public hearing in order to state any decision reached by this committee today cannot be used to set a precedent. Each application considered by the committee is dealt with on its own merits, and no 2 applications are exactly the same. I will state the public hearing is to consider a minor variance application MV 2021-11, James and Angie Norris. I will call on the Secretary Treasurer Duff to state the following information. Go ahead.
Great. Thank you, Chair Bridge. The property subject to the proposed minor variance application is legally described as Concession C, Part Lot 72, with a municipal address of 5630 Highway 9 in the town of Minto. The subject property is approximately 99.34 acres, 40.2 hectares. The purpose and effect of the application is to provide relief from Section 6.17.1 and Section 8.5.2 of the Town of Minto's Comprehensive Zoning Bylaw 0186 as amended, to permit for the creation of a new lot with a proposed rural residential use on the subject property. Section 6.17.1 of the Town of Minto's Comprehensive Zoning Bylaw 0186 as amended requires a separate lot with a proposed residential use to comply with MDS 1 setback calculations. For lots without an existing dwelling, MDS 1 setbacks are measured to the shortest distance between the proposed lot line and either the surrounding livestock occupied portions of the livestock barns, manure storages, or anaerobic digesters. For the subject property and the proposed lot fabric, the MDS 1 calculations indicate the minimum distance should be 173 meters or 568 feet and 217 meters, 713 feet, whereas the applicant is seeking relief to reduce the distance to 140 meters or 459 feet and 169 meters, 554 feet. Additionally, Section 8.5.2 of the Town of Minto's Comprehensive Zoning Bylaw 0186 as amended requires the lot area to be 4 hectares or 1 acre, whereas the proposed lot size is 0.399 hectares or 0.99 acres. Additional relief may be considered at this meeting. The notices were mailed to the property owners within 200 feet or 60 meters of the subject property, as well as the applicable agencies, and posted on the subject property on August 6, 2021. The following reports and comments were received and are attached for council to review. From Ashley Sawyer, planning technician, the town of Minto, Asavari Jadhav, planner, Wellington County, and Brandy Walter, environmental planning coordinator with the Saugeen Valley Conservation Authority. We have 1 speaker registered to participate in the public hearing, and her name is Tamara Norris.
Okay. Thanks, Gord. And I will now turn it over to Ashley to provide comments. I believe you're handling all 3 of those comments, right, Ashley?
Yes, and then Tamara and I believe Nancy, which is their planner, is here.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yes, so the property is currently zoned agricultural and it is designated by the county's official plan as secondary agricultural. So the main intent of this variance is to relieve the MDS requirements for the lot creation, as well as mentioned the slight variance relief for the lot size as well. This is just based on the conversions of the sketch being submitted in square meters, whereas our zoning bylaw and official plan references the measurements in hectares and acres. Because the minor variance is coming before the severance application, we wanted to make sure that was addressed prior as well. So I did want to point out, typically a lot of these severances that we see come through are for lot line adjustments or surplus farm dwelling severances in prime agricultural areas. So the difference being here is that this is a secondary agricultural area. So it does allow in the county plan for the creation of 1 residential lot, as long as it meets the minimum size, which is the 0.4 hectares, and is not larger than what is needed to accommodate the intended residential use. The county OP tends to look at these severances as part of their growth strategy for the rural portion of our municipality. And I did want to point out too that the applicant's been in contact with the county as well as Saugeen Valley prior to the application of this variance coming through, and that they will be continuing to work once we see the severance come through as well. So county staff and Saugeen Valley have noted that there was no concerns with the proposed variance. Town staff have also noted that we do not have concerns with the variance. We are of the opinion that the variance is minor in nature and appropriate for the property. At the severance stage, this is where we have the opportunity to review and apply the conditions, such as accessing and anything else we may see fit at that time. And we did not receive any concerns or comments from adjacent property owners. So we are recommending council consider approving the relief being asked for.
Thanks, Ashley. And I'll just turn it over. Any questions at this point in time for Ashley? Okay, hearing none, I maybe call on Nancy. Did Nancy want to make any comments?
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. My name's Nancy Shoemaker and I'm the planning consultant for the owners. Just a couple of items I'd like to point out. We will not be seeking the minor variance for the size of the property. The application originally was 80 by 40. In our view, that's 0.4 hectares. However, because the township bylaw also does the conversion, that's where we run into this small discrepancy. So at the time that we move forward with the application, we'll be changing that measurement to 80.5 so that the minor variance for the lot size is not required. We don't think that's appropriate. We have the ability to meet the bylaw, so we will be doing so. The other issue, as noted in the report, the property will meet the MDS for existing livestock. It's the calculation that we had to do for the size of the barns. And we are sandwiched here by the green land to the north of us. So we wanted to maintain that 30-meter setback that the provincial policy statement and the conservation authorities would like to see. And that's why we have the inability to move the site further north and further away from the barn at 5646 Highway 9. But we're hoping the committee will support the variances of the two MDS variances. We do believe they are minor.
Yep. Thank you, Nancy. Does Tamara want to speak? And then I'll open it up again for questions.
I have nothing to say at this moment right now.
Okay, thanks, Tamara.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions for Nancy? Or I think it's pretty straightforward, but okay. Deputy Mayor Turton.
Thank you, Mayor Bridge. Will the driveway to the new lot come off the existing driveway, or will it be a new lot off of Highway 9, or a new driveway? Pardon me.
So
Through you. Oh,
Who wants to answer that?
I'll let you do it, Nancy, if you'd like.
through you, Mr. Chairman, the owners have been speaking with both the township and I believe the county regarding using a shared driveway. If you've been by the property, there is quite a deep ditch there, and it's really, and the location of the new lot is heavily treed between the road and the actual lot. So the intention is to share that driveway. I just, it's a matter of speaking with the county as to whether it will be subject to or together with, whether the driveway itself remains with the retained parcel with a right of way for the severed, or whether the driveway goes into the new severed parcel with a right of way to the owners over 5630. We'll work that out with the county as to their preference.
Thank you.
Thanks. Councillor Elliott. Go ahead, Councillor Elliott.
Just one question, in the future, after this is, if this is granted and it passes, the farmer at the times we're allowing him to be within the MDS. If they decided to build another barn, that makes the MDS change again, doesn't it? Can they expand their facility as a farmer, or are they now handicapped to move their farm away from the MDS? What happens there?
My understanding of the MDS for the farmer is the MDS 2 calculation. So that now will be the distance between wherever the new barn might go and the new house on this lot. So there's opportunity for them to move it further south, or I guess it's east into that property. So behind the 2 existing barns, there would be opportunity there.
Sure. Okay, thanks.
Okay. Terry, did you want to speak to that?
Yeah, just to a little bit more clarification. The MDS 1 and MDS 2 calculations are different. The reason for it is MDS 2 is for barns expanding, and it's not as restrictive. The whole intent is to allow for barns to expand. So it may not be a factor down the road.
Yeah. And as it exists now, it's fine. Yeah. Okay. All right. I think, board, we can maybe go with the positive response. If that's all right with the council, and if I'm wrong on reading that, let me know. But
good. Okay, so I will read the affirmative resolution. The Committee of Adjustment approves the application by James and Agnes Norris for property legally described as Concession C, Part Lot 72, with the municipal address of 5630 Highway 9 in the town of Minto, to provide relief from the required minimum distance separation 1, MDS 1, between the subject property with a proposed residential use and the nearest surrounding livestock, barn, manure storage, anaerobic digester from 173 meters or 585 feet to 140 meters or 459 feet and 217 meters or 713 feet to 169 meters or 554 feet. Additionally, relief is granted from section 8.5.2 of the Town of Minto's Comprehensive Zoning Bylaw 0186 to permit for a reduced lot area of 0.399 hectares or 0.99 acres.
okay. Do I need a mover and seconder for that? I believe so. No?
Yes.
No, do I? Or not, Terry?
Yes.
We do, okay. A mover, your Deputy Mayor Turton, a seconder, Jeff Johnson, okay. Anybody opposed? Carried. Okay, thank you. Thanks. Oh, they're already gone. Okay. Next up.
And well, first, you have a little statement.
Oh, where's that one? Oh, I have to state right there. Oh, yeah, I've turned my page. There you go. Anyone wishing to receive a copy of the notice of decision of the Committee of Adjustment in respect for the minor variance application must make a written request to the clerk of the town of Minto at 5941 Highway 89, Harrison, OG 1ZO, or email at annaline@town.minto.on.ca. I'll officially adjourn the public meeting. There you go. My gavel.
There.
All right. Next up. Next up is I will call a public hearing in order to state any decision reached by this committee today cannot be used to set a precedent. Each application considered by the committee is to be dealt with on its own merits, and no two applications are exactly the same. The public meeting is to consider the minor variance application of MV 2021-12 Dan and Natasha Sinclair. I will call on Secretary Treasurer Duff to state the following. Go ahead.
Thank you, Chair Bridge. The property subject to the proposed minor variance application is legally described as Concession 1, Part Lot 19, with a municipal address of 485 Main Street East in the town of Minto. The subject property is approximately 1.96 acres or 0.79 hectares. The purpose and effect of the application is to provide relief for the subject property from the required lot frontage to permit for the severance of the existing single detached dwelling unit from the remainder of the property. Section 17.2 of the Town of Minto's Comprehensive Zoning Bylaw 0186, as amended, requires a minimum lot frontage of 18 meters or 59 feet, whereas the applicant is proposing a reduced lot frontage of 15 meters or 49.21 feet. Additional relief may be considered at this meeting. The notices were mailed to the property owners within 200 feet or 60 meters of the subject property, as well as the applicable agencies on July 27th, 2021, and posted on July 28th, 2021 on the subject property. The following reports and comments were received and are attached for council to review from Ashley Sawyer, Planning Technician, Town of Minto, Jessica Rahim, Senior Planner for the County of Wellington. We have 3 sets of speakers that have registered. Diana Long and John Ackermanis, Delith and Ian Dolman, and Bruce and Genevieve Forbes.
Mute here. Okay, I will call the town planning technician to provide comments. Ashley?
All right, so this minor variance is to satisfy what would be a condition of the severance application being brought forward. It still is put in as a condition, but the applicant's chosen to address it concurrently to speed up the process a little bit. So the severance application is to sever off the existing single-family detached dwelling that is on the property already. By doing so, the frontage for the remainder of the parcel is then reduced to 15 meters. It's actually 15.35 meters, but we wanted to put in 15 just to make sure there's a little bit of wiggle room there. The parcel would require typically 18 meters with our zoning bylaw. So I did want to note too that the property is currently zoned and designated by our official plan as highway commercial, and it is within the urban boundary of Palmerston. So this minor variance is strictly to address the frontage with the severance. So the existing house can stay as it is. When we get to the site plan stage, that's where the requirements for the buffering, the parking, the setbacks, lot coverage, and all of that will be implemented. This has to be to the satisfaction of the town, our engineer, and the county as well before we will sign off on the site plan agreement and bring that to council. That also happens prior to a building permit being issued. The town has currently not seen any development plans yet for the commercial portion, but it will be noted that the applicant has been fixing up the single-family detached home with the intent to sell off, and no immediate plans for the commercial parcel that we are aware of. So the town and the county do not have any concerns with the proposed variance as it complies with the general intent of the zoning bylaw as well as the official plan. Maitland Valley has also noted that they do not have concerns, as well as the county roads department. We are recommending that the council considers approving this variance, and I believe Jessica from the county is here as well to add on anything I may have missed.
Okay. Thanks. Jessica, did you want to speak or did Ashley cover it off?
Ashley covered everything. I don't have anything to add for this application.
Yeah, just hang in there in case we have questions. That's good. And I believe, Dan, I think you've come on board here. So if you would like to make some comments. Are you able to get Dan connected there?
Am I there now?
Yeah, you are, Dan. Go ahead.
Okay. So the purpose of the when I was working with my planner, Oscar Kloss, and looking into the frontages of what were allowed, we ended up finding out on the survey that the house was actually a little bit close to the property line, that we required 3 meters to a new created property line. And I didn't really want to tear the house down. I know it's a small house, but it's actually in pretty good shape. And what my findings is on it and research is that, you know, the front highway commercial portion in dividing these properties, it's going to make it more affordable for businesses to potentially buy the house and rent it for a couple of years while they plan on what they want to do. Or, you know, they could always have a garage put on it to run an automotive business or whatever they want to do, and live in the existing home because it is existing. I'm just trying to make more use of the property, dividing it into two, the entrance going into it, with it being 15 meters. We actually have a concept drawing drawn of the property, and it's going to have two 6,000 square foot buildings on it with some commercial in it, and they're going to be 3-level buildings. The first and second story would be residential dwellings with elevators that could be sold as condos, and, you know, potentially get more housing in Palmerston, which we need very much so. But I'm just trying to make maximum use of the property, and I think this is the best way to do it. I did have some concerned homeowners in the back. I'm not trying to do anything wrong with the property. It's been zoned commercial for quite some time now. And like I said, I just want to maximize the use of the property for the town. So that's what I have.
Thanks, Dan. Okay, and then I believe we have some other speakers, and Diana Long, and it's Diana with us or just John? John's with us. John? Go ahead.
John's here.
Hi.
Okay, good.
Hi. Okay, so now we are aware what's possibly going to happen behind us. I understand when we bought this property that nothing was going to happen behind us. I just want to know if the builder was aware of this, the possibility of something being built behind us, and if he was, why did he charge us a premium to have this lot?
Well, and as was pointed out before, and maybe I'll turn it over to Ashley, but I believe this has always been zoned C2. Back to when was the actual date, Terry or Ashley?
It was May 2011 that it was passed, and then June that it was declared. I should note too that the property back to at least 1982 was zoned industrial until the official plan and zoning bylaw amendment in 2011. At that time, there was a municipal comprehensive review, and it was determined by the county as well as us that there was a large oversupply of industrial. And so that was the reason that our economic development team pushed for this to be commercial as opposed to industrial. But that being said, from our records, we're not aware of it ever being zoned residential.
Okay.
Yeah, and
So is this?
So that would have been, and Jessica, you'll know it at the county level, that would have been a map existing, everything. People could look at it, find out what zonings were.
Well, I guess verbally, this is misrepresentation from the builder, because a lot of homeowners did ask this question over and over. And we were told, don't worry, nothing, the end of our properties we were told was the end of Palmerston. And they said there would be no development past that line. So now we understand, if I understand correctly, we could have condos behind us.
That's a possibility.
Okay. Yeah. So what is our fallback? Do we go after the builder, or like what? Like this is totally unacceptable. And I want to know, is there going to be a road like right behind my property and then the condo over? I know there's a very, what do you call it? An easement.
Yeah.
But is it going to be an actual road there? And if he does do this and we have no way out of it and we can't do anything about it, are they going to build us a big fence so we can't look at that?
So I think earlier on, Ashley and Terry, if you want to speak to this or whatever, we did talk about the fact that, and Dan's on the line, so he knows what the situation is. If he just develops it or somebody else develops it, they have to go through what we call a site plan development, and we want to make it like we can try to figure out what can go right there and all that stuff. Am I right on that? Derek or Terry, want to take that on?
Yeah, certainly I can speak to it quickly. Absolutely correct, Mr. Mayor. There has to be a site plan for this location, and that site plan will have to meet the rigors of the town requirements, and it will also come back to council as well.
Yeah, so the buffering and other things might be, that would all come out of that site plan development, which again, you'll have an opportunity to see as people that are close.
And what's the timeline for something like that? Right, from plan to development?
If I can speak, Mayor Bridge?
Yep, go ahead, Dan.
So at this time, there's no plans on, you know, in the next few years right now. Site plan and development takes a bit of time. And what I want the homeowners to know, what I want you guys to know is that, you know, I've done projects throughout the municipality. I've lived here my whole life. Any of the site plan applications that go forward, they always go to the abutting landowners as well, and they all have the right to say what they want. I obviously don't want you to be uncomfortable living there. It's unfortunate that, you know, you were, I don't know the situation between you and your builder, but, you know, I've been a builder for a long time too. And the one thing I like to make aware to people is what's going on around them. But at the stage of site plan, for sure, the homeowners, you guys for sure have a, you know, you can look at it, and site plans do change on and off. The townships might require certain things from me as well. And we have to go back and forth, and buffering and fencing and all that stuff. I'm very aware of what needs to go on, and you know, it is a process that everybody is involved with. So.
Okay, and I have Ian, and who else? Is Ian here? No, Bruce and Genevieve Forbes. Oh yeah, Ian's on there. Sorry, Ian and Thea. I don't know if I got that name right. They'll go next if you'd like.
Hello.
Hello.
Can everybody hear me?
Yep.
Perfect. Okay. So, Mayor Bridge, I just want to say you're getting my pronunciation almost right. I am Daleth, but everybody calls me Del. Okay. So I'd like to thank you, the chairperson, and the committee for allowing me to speak. I want to echo a lot of what Diana said. We were by Right Haven Homes sold under false pretenses or misleading. I've now discovered that, you know, that's partly our fault. We should have done our due diligence. But moving forwards, I have a little bit concern regarding what eventually will go in there. I know that we will have some input. What my concern is that Dan Sinclair has said that he's lived in Palmerston for all his life. He's very in touch with the people around us. But I also know that potentially it could be sold to another developer. And would they be, you know, just as kind of willing or, you know, cooperative, whatever. But so you've answered some of my questions in regards to, and I want to thank Terry, because Terry from the township has been very good answering a lot of my questions. But yeah, leading forwards, I mean, we would like to have some sort of involvement. We would like to have some sort of communication. So you know, I hear from the committee that will happen. And finally, I just want to know, is there minutes to this meeting? I know we're recording the meeting, but will we have some sort of formal minutes that we will be able to look back at and reflect on?
Yes, there is. Yeah.
Okay. And where do we obtain that? Or will you say that at the end?
I'll say it right at the end if Gord will remind me to say it again. So as long as you're signed in and which you are, then you'll get a copy of all the decisions that are being made and whatever.
Okay. Thank you very much.
No problem. And I have Bruce. Go ahead, Bruce, if you're there, or Genevieve.
They work.
There we go.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I wish we could have this in person, but we're still in this COVID world, but we're getting closer.
Yep. Understood. Understood. Yeah. Yes, and we're in the same category as Del and Diana have, you know, expressed. We bought this property with the understanding, or we were led to believe, with purchasing this property, that you would have nothing behind you, no buildings or anything. we bought the property along with, we do not have any backyard because our backyard is inclined for drainage.
Right.
So now all of a sudden, at least we had something that we could look back out on. And now all of a sudden, if we're going to have the buildings back here, I don't think, to us, that's not acceptable. It's not, I understand Dan, this has got nothing to do with him. This got to do with the decisions that seem to be made prior to us. And again,
We paid a premium.
we paid a premium, as my wife just said, we paid a premium, and as all the other, we paid a premium, and we're trying to figure out what the premium was for, other than we got a little bit bigger windows. And that's it. Other than that, if you look at it, we have nothing else other than the view, and the view is perfect. Is what we're enjoying right now. We're retired, and we thought we'd spend the rest of our life in Palmerston, and that might have to change. The buildings start going up around us. Not what we bought.
Right.
Or not what we were led to believe that we bought. I'm sorry.
And I can understand your frustration, but and you understand though what we're talking about. There will be some obviously input from the neighbors and everybody else on the site development program if we get to that world when it happens. So.
Yes, I understand. I understand a lot more now than we had in early stages. We understand it, and again, Terry was very helpful. He explained everything to his best of his knowledge. And we know we got maybe a few years left here, but it's still, it's not again, not the council, not Dan. We were led to believe that there will be nothing here behind us. And now it's not happening.
Well, and we appreciate your comments, and we'll, as you say, we'll keep you informed as to where things are going on this project.
Thank you very much.
Starts. Thank you for your input. Any questions for the council on anything? Ed? Okay. All right. I'll call on, okay, with Secretary Treasurer Duff to provide the resolutions. So I guess, Gord, if you want to do the resolution.
Yes, I will go with the affirmative one.
Oh, sorry, Councillor Elliott has his hand.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead, Councillor Elliott. I thought I didn't see it if you had your hand up before.
It was actually Ashley had her hand up. I thought I got bigger hands, so.
Oh, well, Ashley, your hand up.
Thank you. I just did want to note too that this minor variance isn't to do with the use of the land. It's strictly to do with the severance. So.
Yeah, then that's the point. I think our delegations wanted just to let us know what their concerns were going forward. So yeah, this is kind of a minor thing. So yeah, go ahead, Gord. I think you go with the affirmative.
Okay. And the resolution reads that the Committee of Adjustment approves the application by Dan and Natasha Sinclair for property legally described as Concession 1, Part Lot 19, with a municipal address of 485 Main Street East in the town of Minto, to provide relief from Section 17.2 of the Town of Minto's Comprehensive Zoning Bylaw 0186 as amended, to permit for a reduced lot frontage of 15 meters or 49.21 feet.
Thank you. And I need a mover and a seconder for that. Councillor Elliott, Deputy Mayor Turton. Anybody opposed? Carried. Okay. And I have to go to that, and that's the little thing that I almost forgot the last time, right? Okay. Anyone wishing to receive a copy of the notice of decision of the Committee of Adjustments in respect to the minor variance application must make a written request to the clerk of the town of Minto at 5941 Highway 89, Harriston, NOG 1ZO, or by email at annaline@town.minto.on.ca. And the meeting will be officially adjourned. And by the way, this is also recorded, and you can go online and see what was discussed. So, right on that, Gord?
That's correct.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let me just see my next one up here.
One more.
Oh, here we are. Okay, I'll call this public meeting to order and state any decision reached by this committee today cannot be used to set a precedent. Each application considered by the committee is dealt with on its own merits and no two applications is exactly the same. Public hearings to consider minor variance application MV 2021-13, the Minto Municipal Services Corporation. I will call on the Secretary Treasurer to state the following.
Thank you, Chair Britz. The property subject to the proposed minor variance application is legally described as lot 27 to 29 on the northeast side of John Street in the former town of Harrison in the town of Minto, with the municipal address of 16 John Street North in the town of Minto. The subject property is approximately 0.65 acres or 0.26 hectares. The purpose and effect of the application is to provide relief for the subject property to permit for an 1,100 square foot addition of the existing legal non-conforming Lions Medical Center. This addition is proposed to be utilized by healthcare professionals to serve the local community. The addition requires relief under subsection 45(1) and subsection 45(2)(a)(1) of the Planning Act, RSO 1990. Under subsection 45(1) of the Planning Act, RSO 1990, relief is being requested from section 10.2.5 of the Town of Minto's Comprehensive Zoning Bylaw 0186 as amended to permit a reduced exterior side yard setback of 5.2 meters or 17.06 feet. Under subsection 45(2)(a)(1) of the Planning Act, RSO 1990, relief is being requested to permit an expansion of the legal non-conforming use to facilitate the addition in a residential R1B zone. Additional relief may be considered at this meeting. The notices were mailed to the property owners within 200 feet or 60 meters of the subject property, as well as the applicable agencies, and posted on the subject property on August 4th, 2021. The following reports and comments were received and are attached for council to review. From Ashley Sawyer, Planning Technician, Town of Minto; Jessica Rahim, the Senior Planner, Wellington County; Patrick Huber-Kidby, the Environmental Planner, Regulations Officer of the Maitland Valley Conservation Authority.
Thank you, Gord.
We have no speakers registered for this one.
Okay, thank you. I will call on Ashley to bring her report. Go ahead, Ashley.
So this minor variance is regarding the approximately 1,100 square foot single story expansion of the existing Harrison Lions Medical Community Center. So currently the community center has a dentist and a chiropractor in it, but this expansion will facilitate space for 2 physicians for the local community. It'll include a reception area, a waiting room, a break room, a nurse's station, offices, exam rooms, and procedure rooms. So relief is required as the exterior side yard is proposed to be 5.2 meters, whereas the bylaw requires 6 meters. And additionally, this is a legal non-conforming use. So this medical center began its operation in 1978. So although it is zoned residential now and designated as such, it is legal non-conforming. So legal non-conforming uses can be extended as per the Planning Act and the county OP, as well as the town's bylaw, as long as it is appropriate and the use is rational. The Planning Act also specifies that one of 2 criteria must be met, and in this case, it is that the proposal is similar to the current usage of the land, building, and structure. So town and county staff, as well as source water protection, do not have concerns with the proposed addition. Maitland Valley did note that they would like a path added in that would front onto Arthur Street West. Even though the medical center is currently beyond the regional flood hazard area, this would provide a second access in and out during the case of a flood. Our fire department did note too that they don't foresee concerns with that, but we will include it as part of the site plan as well. So our recommendation is that the committee receives this report and considers granting the requested relief.
Thank you, Ashley. Does Jessica want to say anything, or are you good, Jessica?
No, Ashley did a good job there. It's just we're looking at this application a little differently. The first relief is for the reduced exterior side yard is reviewed under the 4 tests, and the expansion to the legal non-conforming is looked at is if it's a similar use. Yeah. But from planning department, we have no concerns, and we're here if you have any questions.
Great, thank you. Okay, any questions from the council? Don't see any, so I think I can dispense with the rest of this and go right to the decision. Gordon, maybe if we do the positive one.
Okay. Again, the Committee of Adjustment approves the application by the Minto Municipal Services Corporation for property legally described as Lot 27 to 29 on the northeast side of John Street in the former town of Harrison with a municipal address of 16 John Street North in the town of Minto to provide relief from section 10.2.5 of the town of Minto's comprehensive zoning bylaw 0186 as amended under subsection 45(1) of the Planning Act to permit a reduced exterior side yard setback of 5.2 meters or 17.06 feet. Relief is also granted under subsection 45(2)(a)(1) of the Planning Act to permit an expansion of the legal non-conforming use.
Thank you, Gordon. And now to say anyone wishing to receive a copy of the notice of decision of the Committee of Adjustment in respect to the minor variance application must make a written request.
We should have a mover.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry. Vote.
Sorry. Yeah, we didn't have a vote. Sorry, have a vote. Anybody opposed? Hearing none. Good.
And a mover and a seconder?
Oh, I didn't get that either. Oh, Deputy Mayor Turton, it's been a long day. And Councillor Dirksen. Okay, now can I go, Gordon?
Sure.
Anyone wishing to receive a copy of the notice of decision of the Committee of Adjustment in respect to the minor variance application must make a written request to the clerk of the town of Minto at 5941 Highway 89, Harrison, NOG 1ZO, or email at annaline@town.minto.on.ca. And just before I adjourn this, I just want to say I give this council a lot of credit for going ahead with this project and understanding that we're going to certainly need a doctor fairly soon because of our growth in Harrison, and this was brought to us by our doctor recruitment committee, and you've worked on it and expedited it really well. So thank you very much for your support on this, and I will now adjourn the meeting. Okay, I need a motion by Councillor Elliott, second by Councillor Anderson, that the Committee of Adjustment convenes in a regular council. Anybody opposed? No. Good. Any notice of motion? Seeing none. Moved by Councillor Dirksen, second by Councillor Gusson, that Council of the Town of Minto ratifies the motions made in the Committee of the Whole. Anybody opposed? None. Good. Bylaws. Moved by Councillor McKenzie, second by Deputy Mayor Turton, that bylaw number 2021-64, bylaw to exempt part lot control for lands being part 1 to 5, 61R 22029 lots 87, 88, 89, plan of the Village of Clifford in the former town of Clifford and the town of Minto under section 57.1 of the Planning Act RSO 1990 as amended, be read first, second, and third time and passed open council seal of the corporation. Anybody opposed? Carried. Moved by Councillor Anderson, second by Councillor Dirksen, the bylaw number 2021-65 to confirm the actions of the Council of the Corporation of Town of Minto respecting a meeting held August 17, 2021 to be read first, second, and third time and passed open council seal of the corporation. Anybody opposed? Seeing none. Moved by Councillor Gusson, second by Deputy Mayor Turton, the Council of the Town of Minto adjourns to meet again at the call of the mayor. Thanks everybody for a good meeting, and I guess we meet next week. You just can't get enough of this, so I'll be looking forward to seeing you next week. All right.
See you, everybody.
Bye,
Good night, everybody.